Hey everybody, welcome. I'm just getting on. I'm gonna wait a minute or two for other people to get on, and we will begin. Today we are going to talk about new tips and tricks for new instructional designers. So people who are new to the field, people who are just starting, a graduate program. Like, what do you need to know as a new student? Like, what kinds of stuff do you need to know? So we're going to talk about that today. All right, just let me pull everything up so that I can make sure that I have your questions and answers. Let's see. Yes, I do. All right, perfect. All right. Just make sure everything is up here. There we go. Let me just say hello. Okay, so as a new student in an instructional design program, so I try to picture like where are you and what's going through your mind as a new student. So I put myself in your place, which I was in like 2000, 2001, something like that. So like 18, 19 years ago, I was in your shoes. So I try to remember, what is it like to be that new student? And I think about being a new student in my doctoral program and how I was nervous about stuff. So let's start out talking about one of the first things. And that would be one of the first things I think that is super important is to think about the technology that you have, the technology you're programmed using. So I just wrote a blog post about this not too long ago, but your computer. So what kind of computer are you using as a new instructional technology grad? So the first thing I will say is do not use a Chromebook. Do not use a tablet. I mean, you can use them, but those cannot be your computers for class. We are going to run software. You're going to learn software. Even if you're in another program besides ours, the software instructional designers are using is not compatible with Chromebook or iPad. You've got to get a real computer. So next question is, can you get a Mac or can you get a PC? I usually like to tell people my personal preference is a PC. I've been a Mac and PC user since the 80s. So I've been through back and forth. Around 2005, 2006, I went back to Mac after being PC for like 10 years and slowly went back to PC about 6 years ago. So 2012, 2013, I went back to PC permanently. But I think Mac or PC, they both work really well. I will say that things appear to be easier on the PC. More software is compatible. There are a few compatibility issues with the Mac, but they work well for the most part. A recommendation, if you do get a Mac, you can always go buy like a really cheap PC for like a few $100s, like $300 to $400, like a really cheap one, just to run like for those few times when you need something else, it'll just do it. And that's instead of using like Boot Camp or something like that, which I really don't like those pieces of software. Also, just to let everyone know, if you're watching, you're more than welcome to ask me questions. Just go ahead and type in the chat bar. You can see I've typed there. Let's see, type questions here if you have them. More than welcome to interrupt me because you're not really interrupting. You're just typing. So you can ask me questions. I am watching that. I can see. Now, what you're seeing on my screen, so you're seeing me and you also see a PC, my computer screen behind me. And that's so that I can show you something if I want to show you something while I'm talking. So let's actually do that. Let me do that right now. Let me pull something up. So what I want to pull up, I'm going to pull up my website and throw it on the screen here. Because what I want to show you is I want to go right to my blog and talk about, let's see. Oh, streaming made easy. No, what we want to talk about, I want to look at buying a new computer. So here's this basic stuff that I came up with. So some of my other recommendations for you if you're just starting out looking at this, use your student discount. And you can go through, I'd actually recommend you just go through this blog post and see every single recommendation that I do have about this. And I'm just doing that because I did already send this out to my students. So I don't want you guys to be seeing like repetitive information because I want to get into some other nuts and bolts about like classes and things you should be thinking about as you go through an instructional design program. All right. So let's see here. Okay, what do I want to go through next? Software. So what software are you going to be expected to use as an instructional designer? Basic software packages, you should always have the Adobe Suite. If you're one of my students, you automatically have the Adobe Suite through UNCW, so go ahead, download and install that. Especially software you're going to need for that would be like Dreamweaver, Photoshop would be the big ones that you definitely want. I put Illustrator, InDesign, and then there's a few others in there I'd install too, like Audition, though I personally prefer Audacity, that's for like sound editing, and then Premiere, which is our video editing software. Those would be the big things I would download from the Adobe Suite. Obviously, you also need Microsoft Office. With UNCW, again, you get Office 360, which provides PowerPoint, Excel, Microsoft Word. Those are the only pieces of software you're really going to need from that for our program, or for most master's programs in instructional design. Now, there's other software you're going to need that your school, or our school, our program really doesn't provide for you. And there are a few workarounds to get that software. But what I want to tell you, so first of all, the main software instructional designers use. Sorry, I've been talking all morning, so my voice is just like feel like I'm all over the place. But other software you're going to need are Adobe Captivate and another piece of software called Articulate 360. Those are the two big pieces of software. Two. Like if I had to tell any instructional designer, what software do you need? What are you going to use? Captivate, Articulate. That's it. Those two things. That's like so much of our development are those two things. Obviously, instructional designers do a lot more, and we use a lot more than just those two pieces of software. However, those are the two biggies. And unfortunately, they don't come with Articulate. So let's talk about Articulate first. Articulate only works on the PC. Captivate works on both, but Captivate doesn't come with Adobe, the suite. It doesn't come with their package, their Creative Cloud. You have to buy it separately. And that's unfortunate. Now, there are some workarounds, and let me talk about those. Workaround number one is they give you, for both of those pieces of software, you get a free 30-day trial. So when you use them in class, you can use a free trial. The free trial of Captivate does have a watermark on it, which is like a little symbol when you publish, so you wouldn't want to like use it professionally. Perfect for class, though, to get the free 30-day trial. But that only works for one class, which really stinks, right? Like, only works for one class? So you only get 30 days. So what we've done, so you as students, if you're my students watching this at UNCW, we do have copies of Articulate and Captivate for you to use. The way to use them is you have to contact me, and I will give you a code, and you have to tell me, like, hey, I need Captivate for a month. I'll give you a code to use it for 1 month. We only have like 10 copies because they're really expensive, but I have copies to loan out to students for projects, for classes, for internships, working with clients and stuff like that. So we've never actually had them all filled up at one time. We always have extras. So if you need it for a class, you're doing a project, ask me, and I can give you those two pieces of software. All right. So that's that. Other software, yeah, you know, you're going to use some project management software. There's Microsoft Project, but there's also like free stuff out there you can use. I love using things like Google Docs instead of Microsoft Word. I use it all the time. So even instead of using Office 360, you've got Google Docs. Another recommendation for you, make sure you're utilizing the cloud. You know, UNCW gives our students access to OneDrive, but I also use Dropbox. There's Box.com. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you have cloud storage. Google Drive gives you cloud storage. Utilize the cloud for everything. Piece of advice, never save anything on your actual PC. Save it in the cloud. Why? I've had so many PCs and Macs just die on me. And I take the best care of these things. I mean, I treat these things better than my kids. These are my computer is like my life. I'm on it so much and they break. Maybe it's because I do use them so much, but like my laptop, I don't even bring it anywhere. I have a laptop I have a laptop that sits in my house and then a laptop I use when I'm going to move it because I don't even want to move the thing. I take such good care of them. They do die. So just save everything. The easiest way is just to use the cloud and everything's just in there all the time. Then I can like access stuff. Like if I need a file, like when I go to a meeting, I just bring my phone and all my files are right here. I don't need to actually, bring my PC anywhere. I don't need to bring a thumb drive anywhere. Those are just a pain. I used to use like an external hard drive. You know what? That's a pain. Unless you're doing really kind of classified work, just save it in the cloud. Much easier, much better. All right. Any questions so far? Everyone's really quiet. No typing. No. I see no questions here. You are more than welcome to ask me stuff as I go through this. All right. So that's like tech hardware stuff. Let's see. I'm just seeing if no one's asking any questions. Okay. Everyone's quiet, which is fine. I just like to make sure that everything I'm saying is relevant and I'm responding to things people are interested in. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about. Oh, and I realize behind me you're still seeing this my website. I'll just put it back on the homepage for now. Okay, so someone asked me if they need Articulate. What class are you referring to that you would need Articulate for? So I don't know what exact class you mean, if you mean one of mine or... So for my classes this semester, you do not need Articulate. You actually don't need any software in my classes. Well, that's not true. You need software, but so I'm teaching a basic instructional design class, which is MIT 500. So those of you in here asking about MIT 500, let me talk about that for a second. So MIT 500 is like the basic class in my program that goes through like instructional design. We go through the whole entire process. Like the simplest way to explain it is the class covers ADDIE from A to E. We go through everything. What the students do in that class is they develop a full instructional design project, which is really nice. Now we don't use a real client in the class. We do use real clients in other classes, but this class we don't. Because all the students are brand new. Like this is like the first class. So I want it to be as easy as possible. So for the development piece in this class, it's kind of the least important because this class doesn't focus on tech tools. Like my other classes focus on tech tools and we get to develop and create all kinds of really cool stuff. This class, this is like the theory class. We want to learn the field. So the development piece in this field is as basic as possible. You can use Microsoft Word. You can use Microsoft PowerPoint. You don't need to use any complicated instructional design software. In fact, the only students in this class I would even recommend use something like Articulate for this class for would be if you're not new to the program. Like you started last spring and haven't taken 500 yet, but you've taken like 3 classes. So you kind of have some background knowledge and you can actually spend a little more time focusing on development than someone who's brand new. Brand new students, I'd rather you focus on all the other stuff. Development is the least priority in that class. So I hope that makes sense. But that is the least priority. All right. Hope that makes sense. So as you guys are going through, so I'm teaching 2 classes this semester. I'm teaching a gaming class, MIT 517, and MIT 500, which is our instructional design class. And my recommendation for you in my classes and every class. So, at UNCW, we're still in our first week. Well, we started last week, but we started on Wednesday. So we're still in week 1, really. A few recommendations for you this first week as you start to do things. So my classes are all taught online, but no matter how they're taught, whatever kind of class you're in, always for the rest of your lives, read the syllabus, schedule, project assignments, and rubrics very, very, very carefully. Ask the instructor if you have any questions in the beginning of the course. Because I don't always know. Sometimes, I'm developing a lot of stuff. Like look at all your course materials that have been developed. It takes a really long time to develop that. And then think about yourselves. When you're writing a paper and you've written this beautiful paper and you forget that your name, to put your name on it. Professors are people too, so we want to make sure that you understand things so that we haven't forgotten anything either. So, always read through that stuff in detail and ask questions, especially like right when the class starts. That's like the best time, because I can go in and like make changes really quick. And it's great when students point out errors to me because I can't pick up everything. So it's really nice, and it helps you understand the class, helps you understand what you're going to have. If you're in a class and I've taken classes before where I just didn't really even get a syllabus, or the syllabus was like a paragraph and that was it. That's not acceptable. Make sure you understand what you're going to be expected to do and Always, if you're ever buying books in your class, another thing, if any software or hardware you're buying, if you are going to buy a piece of software, and you don't need to buy any software in our program, you just need a computer. But if you are going to buy a piece of software or a computer or whatever, make sure you use you're now a student. So you get student discounts and every company offers them. So take full advantage. Also check out like on, university bookstores and stuff, because they have special discounts. Like always check that stuff out. It's totally worth getting the discounts. They are big. I get the discounts too as faculty. So like if I'm buying a piece of hardware and the school's not buying it for me, I use the school's discount too, because I get the educator discount. And I guess if you're a teacher, about half of my students are teachers. You're probably always getting the educational discount anyway. But if you're coming from corporate or military or whatever, you don't always get those. Military does get a lot, but corporate definitely doesn't. So take advantage of those discounts. See what's out there. Get the student version always. All right. When you're buying books, bookstores and like the publisher places are usually an absolute ripoff. So always, always, always buy your books used from Amazon. They're so much cheaper to find used books off Amazon. One of the big trends that's happening in like publishing and books right now is that we're doing something called OER, which is Open Educational Resources. So a lot of people are really trying to make educational resources free. It's still not happening. We're not there yet 100%, but a lot of my classes, I will not require any books for anyone to purchase. The only times I will do it is when it's a book that like is really meaningful to the field. Like in my MIT 500 class, I have you guys purchasing the Dick and Carey book. That's like you have to have that book. I mean, I don't care if you have the 1st edition or the 8th edition, you have to have that book. It's a book that you're going to keep for the rest of your career. Just keep it. And you're going to have it. And you're always going to be able to go back to it. I won't say I'm 100% necessarily the biggest fan of the book. I have some issues with it, actually. But it's probably the most popular book in our field. So you've got to just have it. And you can find cheap versions of it on Amazon. So you've got to get it. Sorry about that noise you're hearing right now. If you're hearing like a buzz, I'm in my home office. That's my garage door. So you can see whenever I shoot live, like live things happen. Like my kids will like run in the house really quick and stuff like that, like upstairs. That's why I do a lot of recording, so I can edit that stuff out. I don't do so much live stuff. But another thing about the book, so like for MIT 500, a lot of the course material I cover in my videos. So you're going to get a lot of stuff for free that you don't have to pay for. And I'm taking all my videos in MIT 500 and turning them into a book that will be free. Unfortunately, it's not going to be ready until like December or January. Sorry, guys, in this class. I have a really bad draft of it right now that I could just give you, but it's like written so poorly I would just be absolutely embarrassed to show it to someone. But as soon as it's like a better draft, maybe later in this semester, I'll be able to give you guys that. But it'll be free on my website. For MIT 500, so someone asked me what book they should be getting for my MIT 500 class. It is the actual name of the Dick and Carey book. Let's see. It's like the Systematic Design of Instruction. This is it. Dick and Carey. The Systematic Design of Instruction. Honestly, like, probably the most well-known book in our field. Oh, you can rent it for $30. Let's see. Oh, look, you can get the paperback version for $3,000. And then the loose leaf version $69. But that's for the newest one. You honestly totally don't need that copy. This version, which I actually have this version as well. This one was $21. So cheap to buy. I have this version too. I have like every version of this book. I really do. I have every version of this book. This one's $50. I have that one. I don't have the 5th edition. Okay, I don't know what Amazon's getting into there. But we'll just keep it right here at the... But yes, this is the text. And it is loose leaf. I have the loose leaf version, which is a big pain. So I have to have it in like a binder, which was a big pain for me to have it like that. But usually as a professor, like I get my books for free. So we don't see like those costs that students have to pay. But I'm really mindful of costs. I do not want you spending money on books that you don't need, you're not going to use. We will read this entire book. I believe you need to read this. I believe every instructional design student needs to read this entire book. It's a classic. You say Dick and Carey model during an interview, every single person who is an instructional designer is going to know what you mean. You have to say you know the Dick and Carey model. There's tons of other models out there that you're going to learn about, but this is the most popular one. It's the most popular version of the ADDIE model, which you'll learn about in my class, all about that stuff. So just know that, but super important book to have. Book you don't want to sell, you want to keep. Make notes in it, underline in it, all that good stuff. Well worth reading. I do think some of the chapters, so my issue with the book is that I never got the impression, I felt like the book does a great job of explaining things from like a theoretical perspective and not a practical perspective. So like, I just never got the fact that I never understood. I never felt like I was learning how to work when I read the book. I didn't feel like I was really learning the process. I was learning like about the process, but not like how to do the process. And so that was one of the things that always kind of, I didn't always like. I see a question here: elaborate theory versus C. What do you mean? What theories do you mean? Hey, buddy, I am on doing live chat. You can't come up. You have to go downstairs, okay? What's wrong? Okay, you can get your stuff. My son just came into my office. So he's playing with some Legos. Can you just elaborate on that last question? Okay, so some other things. So that's books, texts, my recommendation, Dick and Carey book, have to get it. Okay. Next thing, and I know you don't have free time, but in your free time, I really, hey buddy, you can't build Legos. You can't make noise, okay?
Let's bake our cookie pie.
All right, so, in your free time, I highly recommend you start watching videos, reading about the field. There's so many resources out there. Hey, buddy, shut the door on your way down. There's so many free resources out there that I really recommend you start knowing the field and learning about it. Like, go through and watch my videos. Go search other blogs and just start finding, there's tons of really good stuff out there. So I really think it'll start to give you that really good overview of the field, especially when you start to say, this is what I want to do when I leave here. Start researching that and really getting into your focus areas. So when I mean focus areas, I have some students that really like design. I have some students that really like development. I have some people that like performance improvement. And maybe you're too new in the program or your courses to really realize what you do and do not like, and you'll figure it out. But so when I was going through my master's, I really liked development. So I really, in my free time, started to practice using a lot of tech tools. Maybe tools that weren't going to be taught to me, or when they were taught to me, I went above and beyond and learned a lot more about that tool than what I was taught. So that I was able to really make sure that so this is leading into something. What I'm trying to say is that you're going to get a lot out of our program, but you only get what you really put into it. Like, I'm going to tell you to read a bunch of stuff and do a bunch of stuff, but are you going to do it? And start to figure out where your interests lie, so that on your own and during your time, during your free time that you have, you're going to really put in that extra effort to become a really good instructional designer. It makes such a big difference. I like to tell students that professors are facilitators of knowledge. I can't make you learn something. I can't force you to learn something, but I can provide the means for you to learn something. I can give you an organized structure, which is like the most important part of it. I mean, anyone can go to a library and learn anything, but what you can't do is get that really good organized structure. I'm hand selecting materials for you, so take advantage of that. But remember that I'm a facilitator. It's all about your own work and what you put into it. You can make so much and learn so much from just reading the Dick and Carey book that I have up on the screen. You can learn so much from just that alone. Like, make sure you're taking advantage. Like, you're here, you're in this program, you're taking these courses. Make sure that you're taking full advantage of that. Take full advantage of what our classes, program, and university has to offer. Makes such a big difference. Another thing, and this was like I have two more things I want to talk about. If you guys have questions, please ask. I'm only on for a few more minutes, but I have two more things I want to talk about. Next thing, start thinking about conferences in the field. So there's a bunch of really good conferences. So I'm in North Carolina. I don't know if everyone else is who's watching this. If you guys are my students, you probably are, but even so, you might not be. Conferences are awesome to go to. Pick like one conference during your master's program and try to go to it. We have so in North Carolina, we have one called NC Ties, which is in Raleigh in March. And then nationally, we have ACT, which is probably the more research one. And our big EdTech national conference is ISTE, I-S-T-E. I would recommend you pick a conference and like maybe one local, one national, and say like, I'm going to figure out how to get to these. So some tips for going to a conference. First of all, the school gives you money. I don't know how much they give you, but they give you a few $100s. Secondly, so that might be enough for you to just go to NC Ties for the day, to go to Raleigh for the day. But I totally recommend getting to a conference. Next thing, volunteer or intern at the conference. When I go to a new conference, I always volunteer or intern. So first of all, volunteering or interning, you usually get to go to the conference for free, which is awesome. But that's not why I do it, because the school is going to give me money to go. I do it because you meet every single person. If you're volunteering at the conference, you meet so many people. The networking is it makes the conference 100 times better than you just like going alone and trying to go to a few presentations. Volunteer and you just get out there and network. It helps so much. So I think as a program, we're going to be trying to get students to go to NC Ties. We're going to start sending you some emails in about a month. If you're interested, you can think of some presentations and like maybe you can present with us. Like, try to present and work with your professors. We want to work with you guys. Like, it's fun. It'll be fun to go to a conference and you can present like with us. It's pretty cool. And then I think next year we're going to be, not this year, next year we're going to be trying to go to ACT. It's going to be in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's like a 5-hour drive from Wilmington. So I think the last time we had a Florida conference at ACT, I rented a big bus and we drove down with like 10 students. It was a lot of fun. All the students worked the conference, like volunteered, so they all got free registration. And I think the university paid for most of the hotel rooms. They really didn't have expenses besides food. Totally worth doing that. So that's one thing. Next thing that I want to show, and let me just pull it up on my first monitor here, and then I will pull it up on my second. Okay. So first of all, if you are, let's see, where's all my stuff? Yes, there we go. If you are not in our Facebook group, please join it, but come check out the new technology lab. We have orientation on Thursday. If you can make an effort to get in the lab and work, like if you're close to Wilmington, totally worth it. We've got all new machines, all the stuff set up now. Here's some pictures of our new lab. This is like a little area to do podcasting. That's like a microphone shield, so like your sound won't bounce everywhere. Really nice. This is going to be a virtual reality station. I haven't set it up yet. I actually have the virtual reality headset right here. I know I'm taking up like the whole entire screen here. That I am going to set up. And I also have this one too, which I'm going to set up. But they're totally not set up. This one I finally have up and running. The other one I'm still working on it, so it just takes me a while to like get through all this tech when I get it, to get it all set up. Yesterday, my goal, I actually set up this, and there's this computer and that I'm pointing to with the mouse is all set up now. So like our lab finally looks, it's like getting there. It's like all ready. Like I'm ready to, I can do like conferences there and like telepresence conferences and stuff. So it's all set up. This is going to be a VR station. And then we've got the green screen for video. I've totally got to get in and use this. I just haven't yet. It's all brand new. This was all stuff we purchased over the summer, and we weren't able to even start setting it up until like 2 weeks ago because we had to wait for the carpeting, we had to wait for the furniture to be built, and then we had to wait for the wall to be painted. So it took a really long time. It took all summer. I thought I was going to have all summer to work on the lab, and I ended up having like no time to do it. So anyway, this is my new computer lab, and I really, if you're local and you can come see it, totally awesome. Those are all my points for today. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions before I sign off? Good afternoon from Chicago. Well, hello from Wilmington, North Carolina. If anyone has any questions, always feel free. You can always comment on the video later. And for my students in my classes, if you are here watching now, I always post the archives in my classes so you can go back and rewatch, or you can just always come to my channel and just rewatch it too. So I always do that. And now that my semester started, I'm going to start trying to do this at least once a week. If I get a lot of people watching and lots of questions, I'm going to try to do it twice. But I like this Tuesday at noon, so we might try to I might stick with that, but I'll let everyone know. I'll post it on my channel, and I'll send out some emails and stuff like that. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day. Hope everyone's doing well. And I will see you guys online soon.